All right, y'all, welcome to the show. We got a goofy-ass one for you. So, right off the bat here, this is a wild story, but based on a bunch of the economic numbers and things of that nature coming out of Israel, they are truly on the verge of collapse. It is wild. And ask yourself why you haven't heard more of this data before. So we'll dive into that in just a second. There are some devastating indicators as it pertains to the future of the state of Israel. So listen to this. The economic indicators speak of nothing less than an economic catastrophe. Over 46,000 businesses have gone bankrupt in Israel. Tourism has stopped. Israel's credit rating was lowered. Israeli bonds are sold at the prices of almost junk bond levels. And the foreign investments that have already dropped by 60% in the first quarter of 2023 as a result of the policies of Israel's far-right government before October 7th show no prospects of recovery. The majority of the money invested in Israeli investment funds was diverted to investments abroad because Israelis do not want their own pension funds and insurance funds or their own savings to be tied to the fate of the state of Israel. This has caused a surprising stability in the Israeli stock market because funds invested in foreign stocks and bonds generated profit in foreign currency, which was multiplied by the rise in the exchange rate between foreign currencies and the Israeli shekel. But then Intel scuttled a $25 billion investment plan in Israel, the biggest BDS victory ever. These are all financial indicators, but the crisis strikes deeper at the meaning of production of the Israeli economy. Israel's power grid, which has largely switched to natural gas, still depends on coal to supply demand. The biggest supplier of coal to Israel is Colombia, which announced that it would suspend coal shipments to Israel as long as the genocide was ongoing. After Colombia, the next two biggest suppliers are South Africa and Russia. Without reliable and continuous electricity, Israel will no longer be able to pretend to be a developed country or a developed economy. Server farms do not work without 24-hour power, and no one knows how many blackouts the Israeli high-tech sector could potentially survive. International tech companies have already started closing their branches in Israel. Holy shit, man. Now, they go on in this piece to talk about, we don't even really have reliable data on how many people have already fled Israel, but that number's got to be getting up there, bro. That number has got to be getting up there. They're truly in dire straits. So you have people already fleeing. You have Israel was very reliant on cheap Palestinian labor that used to come across the border from Gaza. Now that's totally gone. Then you have, they're shoring up their stock market with smoke and mirrors by converting to foreign investments. Nobody wants their money tied to the future of the state of Israel. 46,000 businesses shutting. Intel shutting a $25 billion factory. All the tech startups are now like, I'm gonzo. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Guys, for the first time in my lifetime, looking at the state of affairs, I now think it is within the realm of possibility that Israel could totally collapse. If you told me this 2 years ago, I would have said there's literally a 0% chance Israel is ever going anywhere, ever. Ever. But it turns out, when you piss off the entire world, and look at the numbers. Go look at the most recent UN vote, right? I mean, it's the overwhelming majority of countries in the world. Over 90% of the countries in the world say, we want to recognize Palestine and we want to recognize them along the 1967 borders. Now you have other countries totally cutting off trade with Israel, like, Colombia was a big one here, but then you also have Turkey's making a whole bunch of noise. Other countries are making a whole bunch of noise. Like, they are so internationally isolated.